Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to our van build series. If you're new here, my name is Jordan, and together with my fiance Lise, we're converting this 2022 Ford Transit to travel here in a few months. Today, we're doing one of the more exciting things. We're going to be installing all the electrical. First and foremost, coffee, most important thing. So right here, this is our solar controller. We have our distribution box, which is going to house all of our 120 and 12 volt wires that we ran. Here we have our inverter charger. I created this little step back. Back here, all the batteries are going to be mounted, 200 amp hour batteries. And then under here, we have our DC to DC charger. We have two bus bars. These are 300 amp. We have our 300 amp master on and off switch. This is supposed to be the solar isolator. I mean, it looks like it'll work. 250 amp breaker for our inverter, 100 amp breaker for our distribution box. There's gonna be a 100 amp breaker for solar control, one for our DC to DC charger. And then we have our 300 amp for the whole system itself. We have some 6 gauge wire. This will go to the distribution box, DC to DC charger, 2-watt wire. This is gonna connect all the batteries together. So we have about 10 feet of this wire. We have 10 feet of 8 gauge AC wire. This will be for our shore power. And then lastly, we have our 6 gauge AC wire, which is gonna connect from the inverter to the distribution box. I also have some 2 gauge wire that runs all the way to the front of the van for our DC to DC charger. I think that's about it. First, I'm going to mount this. Each one of those little bolts, created some points in the walls for this to be mounted directly to. So I want to make sure it was real secure. Got these little straps. I think max weight is like 600 pounds. We're gonna put a couple of these. Let's get to it. All right, now we're gonna start adding all of our switches. Go ahead and start cutting our wire, adding our lugs. So most of this video will be not of my face. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna add our terminal fuse blocks. They attach directly to the positive post, whatever battery you're using. Be sure not to hit anything metal while you're doing this. All right, so next we're gonna measure out our wires for battery to battery. Our wire, put our lug on. We got a hydraulic crimp. We got our professional grade wire stripper here. Our hydraulic crimper. Oh, that's pretty strong. These are the lugs I went with. They come with the heat shrink inside. They're 5/16 copper. We'll go ahead and add those to the system and move on to mounting our master switch. We're gonna go ahead and connect our positive first. Make sure when you're doing the distances to account for the length of the line. Next, we're gonna add our master switch, on and off switch. I had connected this wire right here because we're gonna have to run that to the negative bus bar. And I went ahead and connected this wire down here that we gotta run to the positive bus bar. Just so I can get an idea of the distances. We want the electricity to flow all the way through both batteries. So that's why I'm coming off of this battery, coming off the positive on here, and then coming off the negative on this battery. So it'll have a full loop when it goes down to the bus bar. Now I need to figure out the distance coming off of this battery post, going down to here and to here, and make sure it's equal to the distance coming off of this post, going down to probably this one. All right, I went ahead and reversed these bus bars. That way this one just runs down here to this, and then this one can run to here. That way they don't have to cross. Got our 2 cables cut. All right, so I drilled. I'm gonna mount my ground to. Take this wire brush. I'm gonna take off the paint around there. Feed that through. Now we connect that to our negative bus bar. All of our wires, so we can hook them up to the distribution box. It's just gonna be a whole lot of that. So I'll get back to you when I got all these stripped, and then I'll add the terminal ends so we can attach them to the distribution box. Yo, what is going on, guys? It is day 2 of electrical. And it's early. I have to run our shore power cord because we did get our inlet in yesterday. This is a shore power cable. It is the 8 gauge AC wire. There's a hole underneath. I took out this little cover plate. All right, so we dropped our wire through this little opening in the chassis. We're gonna run it back. We're just gonna drill a hole, like right here.
I brought you coffee.
Drilled a hole, put a grommet in so the wire's gonna feed through. from the bottom. Get out of the van, put this in. So this is where we're gonna choose to mount it, only because here, you're having to drill through metal. Test fit it. All right, now let's screw it in. So we mounted our DC to DC charger underneath. I'm just gonna run the wires through this back hole that I created. Inputs on this side. I'm gonna run it from the output on this side over and there to our bus bar. 2.5 feet. We're gonna put our lugs on. We're gonna run that through and under. We're gonna put our lugs on this side and attach it to this. Perfect. So we got our outputs, positive and negative, connected to this little circuit breaker. Pick up some 14 gauge wire. We're gonna tie into this D plus connection because if we don't attach that, then battery bank will just continually draw power. Got our D plus cable ran. I'm gonna run that to the front. Put in a network cable because we do have the Bluetooth module that comes with Renergy. And we also got the M1 system, so everything we can control with just one pad. Put in our angle aluminum to hold batteries in. We put in our cables to hold batteries down. Now I'm reattaching. Next, we're gonna cut our 6 gauge wire, run to our distribution box. So we're gonna run this from the positive bus bar. Gotta make one for the negative bus bar. The positive wire will run to a 100 amp breaker and then run to the distribution panel. So I'm just gonna wire up the ceiling lights. That's it. See if it works. So this is our distribution panel. It's made by Waco. I like it because it has both the 12 volt and the 120 volt all in the same location. And all your fuses go back here, and then all the fuses for this, well, breakers go here, and then fuses go right here. This is gonna be your negative, this is gonna be your positive. Hopefully next time you see me, we have lights. Okay.
Hey guys, we are about to test the lights and see if it works. I feel like the wife in the Griswold family Christmas Vacation when he goes to turn the lights on and nothing happens. Like this is that moment when the family's waiting.
You should work. You should work. Alright, give me a minute.
I have faith.
Next time I call you out here, I'm not gonna, it'll just be on. Alright, I already know the outcome. So we didn't get everything done tonight, but I say it's pretty successful. Next week, everything gets wired up, inverter, DC to DC charger, and we'll just kind of wrap up all electrical next week. So I think that's going to close it out this week. What do you think, Charles? Y'all have a good one.